Australians spend millions on solar panels and batteries for their homes every year, subsidised by federal and state governments. But imagine if Australia's blueprint for the energy transition treated all those solar panels and batteries as completely free.
Huh?
That is exactly what is happening under the hood of Australia's energy transition. Every 2 years, the Australian Energy Market Operator, or AEMO, updates Australia's whole-of-system plan for our electricity grid, known as the Integrated System Plan, or ISP. The draft 2024 ISP claims a combination of renewables, storage, transmission, and gas is the cheapest path for Australia's energy transition. It goes on to laud rooftop solar, paid for by consumers, as a valuable resource that can make a significant contribution to the grid. But what it doesn't mention is that rooftop solar and home batteries, known as Consumer Energy Resources, or CER, are not included as a cost in their plan. To understand the gravity of this, let's look at AEMO's forecast grid capacity over the next few decades. See the rapidly growing pale yellow bars at the top? Those are the rooftop solar panels AEMO expects you to buy. And see the grey and purple bars near the bottom? Those represent home batteries and electric vehicles discharging to the grid, known as CER storage, which AEMO also expects you to pay for. AEMO claims their whole-of-system plan delivers $17 billion of benefits to consumers, but they rely heavily on consumer energy resources, which they don't count as a cost in their model. So just how much is AEMO shunting onto consumers? Take the 86 gigawatts of solar and 157 gigawatt hours of batteries that AEMO expects consumers to have installed in 2050. Then multiply this by CSIRO's latest cost estimates. The total adds up to almost $360 billion at today's prices. This is not a small part of the system. To put this in perspective, doing the same calculation for the investor-build large-scale batteries and solar farms, which AEMO does include in the model, only gives you a total of around $130 billion. Engineers and other energy stakeholders have questioned AEMO's modelling. Here's Samantha Christie, AEMO's Manager of Strategic Planning, explaining why their plan does not include the costs of CER.
We have not included costs for household or residential batteries and solar PV because those are decisions that households and businesses make on their own, and so we take those as an input.
Just because consumers choose to install rooftop solar and batteries does not mean they magically become free for the whole system. But wait, it gets worse. Here you can see AEMO's storage capacity forecast. The blue and grey bars down the bottom represent large-scale batteries and pumped hydro. But the lion's share of storage is consumer energy resources, meaning your home battery system, including electric vehicle batteries. Now, passive CER means you control whether to discharge your battery to the grid or not. Coordinated CER is different. For coordinated CER, you sign away control of your battery, which is then discharged to the grid at the grid's convenience, not yours. As AEMO's 2022 ISP stated, CER coordination is assumed to minimise system cost, not the battery owners. Now, AEMO's current plan assumes financial incentives will be provided to battery owners for supporting the grid, but they don't include any of this as a cost to the whole system. And that's not all. Remember, coordinated CER storage includes electric vehicles too. And AEMO's key scenario expects pretty much everyone to have an EV by 2050. AEMO also expects you to charge your EV not when it suits you, but when it suits the grid. That typically means charging in the middle of the day when solar output is high, and not as soon as you get home from work, which EV owners currently do over 70% of the time. AEMO vaguely mentions the right incentives to make people change their charging habits, but doesn't attempt to include them as a cost. Instead, your solar panels, home battery, and EV are assumed to reduce the need for solar panels, wind farms, and gas plants, without any consideration of the costs you will face. Likewise, current incentives for rooftop solar, like feed-in tariffs and small-scale technology certificates, are not included as costs in AEMO's modelling. And neither are the distribution network upgrades needed to provide grid stability as unpredictable rooftop solar and power-hungry EVs flood the system. AEMO needs to stop claiming they've found the lowest cost path when their energy transition plan does not include $360 billion worth of solar panels and batteries that consumers will ultimately pay for.